Greetings, YouTube. This is Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, coming to you courtesy of Rogues Gallery Incorporated, and I'm here to bring you yet again another favorite villains video segment. Now, for all of those of you who have seen my favorite hero segment this week, I'm here to bring you my favorite villain from the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood series. Now, just like I did in that video, I need to go ahead and throw this out there, this disclaimer at the very beginning of this video, is that I have not seen Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood in its entirety. I have seen the beginning and I have seen the end, but I have not seen every episode in the middle. So, this video, as far as this video go, I won't exactly be able to come into this video with the same amount of expertise that I had in the past. But what I will do is I will discuss and I will tell you all what I like about these characters so much. Now, my favorite hero was Edward Elric, and of course I stated that I was able to talk about Edward with a little bit more expertise. Why? Because we had an entire anime before Brotherhood that Edward was the main character for. However, my favorite villain from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood did not appear in the first Full Metal Alchemist anime series. He's only in the manga, and he's only in Brotherhood. However, he is the big bad booty daddy himself, Father. What can be said about this character? A brief history about the character and for the record, like I said, once again, I haven't seen the entire series, and a lot of what I know about Father does come secondhand. From friends and other people that I've discussed the series with. But from what I could perceive about Father, and I could be absolutely completely wrong about this, I apologize ahead of time if I am, but it seems like we first get introduced to Father as the homunculus in the flask, and we see early on how, you know, he creates this relationship with Hohenheim and whatnot, and then eventually he gets his own body, and he pretty much in essence becomes somewhat of an immortal. He becomes this he becomes a formidable being where, as you know, as long as he has people, as long as he has souls to sacrifice, he's unstoppable. Now, and then of course, like, we find out within the story that Father was the one who made the other homunculus, and it seemed as though he did so to discard those flaws within himself away. You know, this idea, as we all know, the homunculus are named after the 7 deadly sins, and it seems like Father created them so that he could discard those sides of himself into those homunculus. Now, why is it that I like Father so much? Okay, first and foremost, because I just brought up the whole he created the homunculus thing. That's very reminiscent of Naraku. For those of you who've seen Inuyasha, that's very reminiscent of Naraku, because Naraku would always make incarnations of himself. And we found out later on in the story that it seemed like each different version, each different incarnation that Naraku made, he was discarding a part of himself. Now, in some cases, it's more obvious, like Kagura. I'm trying to remember the Onigumo, or what, I forget the other alias for his human homunculus, his human incarnation. Hakudoshi, like those are 3 examples that are the most obvious of what part of Naraku he was discarding into those characters. But what I'm saying is, the same way that Naraku made all these incarnations where he discarded bits and pieces of himself within them so that he didn't have to carry that around in himself, Father does the same thing with the homunculus. You follow me? So to be able to draw that comparison, that was something that caught my attention. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But the thing I like most about Father, and why he is my favorite villain from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, is this. Very seldomly do we get introduced in anything, not just anime and manga, but in media general, you know, movies, television, literature, very seldomly do we get introduced to a villain, to an antagonist type character that out the gate is immortal or invincible or invulnerable. You see what I'm saying? A lot of, and this is, okay, now I'm talking strictly about anime and manga. Especially shonen anime and manga. This is one thing about shonen anime and manga that really has been pissing me off in the last couple of years, and it's the idea of these overpowered villains. You know, we get these stories with these heroes, and then we get these villains, and you know, every villain you have to up the ante a little bit. But then you get to the point where you have these overpowered villains where it's not. The problem with overpowered villains, especially in anime and manga, especially in shonen anime and manga, is this. When a villain is overpowered, you're not stacking the odds against the hero. No, you're not. Because we find ourselves in a situation just like the hero finds himself or herself in a situation where you have this overpowered being, and they spend the whole fucking series trying to find out exactly how do we defeat this being, and it becomes this sort of cat and mouse type bit, but it doesn't work because the whole time it's like no matter how powerful the hero is, the villain is just so much more powerful. That's not good. That's actually very bad, very sloppy writing, and it doesn't create the feeling of the odds are stacked against the hero. No, it just annoys the readers. Now I know I'm kind of getting off on a little side tangent, but this will wrap up. This will all come together with my discussion of Father, because this does have to be discussed in order for you guys to understand why I like Father so much. Okay, now I'm going to give you good examples of villains where you did get the sense that the odds were stacked against the hero. Number one, Harry Potter, Voldemort. Voldemort was a very formidable villain, and he was, for all intents and purposes, he was an OP villain. But you felt that he wasn't so overpowered that the whole point, the whole thing just seemed like it was pointless, like it was helpless, like there was no point. How can we defeat this? You know, it's like, oh, all hope is gone. No, you never got that sense against Voldemort. Two reasons why. Number one, you had heroes that could defeat Voldemort. Dumbledore could have defeated Voldemort, but then of course we saw Dumbledore was murdered, right? Number two, the whole time they were saying Harry has the ability to defeat Voldemort. And then of course number three, the most obvious and the biggest, was the fact that the Horcruxes, that's how you were going to defeat Voldemort. And why did the Horcruxes work so well within the story? Because you did not have to physically confront Voldemort in order to defeat him. All you had to do was go get the Horcruxes and destroy them. Now, yeah, you might run into him, but you didn't have to physically defeat him in order to bring him down. You follow? So that was that's how you write a character, a very powerful villain without making them OP'd. Another classic example would be Supernatural, season 5 with Lucifer. Lucifer was very OP'd, but there was a way to defeat him without physically confronting him in battle, and that was the Horseman's Rings. You see what I'm saying? Like, the reasons why I don't care for villains like Aizen and Madara, both of which were villains that I did like when they were first introduced, but now I don't like those type of villains. Why? Because they're so overpowered. There's no way outside of physical confrontation in which you can defeat these villains. And then of course we know none of these series kill off characters, so then why do I care? Where, you know, the two examples I gave you before with With Harry Potter, we know motherfuckers were dropping like flies in that series, and Supernatural characters died left and right. So, do you follow? Do y'all understand where I'm coming from when I'm talking about this idea of these OP villains? Now, that's going to bring the whole discussion back to Father, because this is why I like Father so much. Father is introduced to us as an OP villain. However, he is not OP to the point where the entire cause seems hopeless. There is a chance that L and the rest, that Edward and Elric and the rest of the gang can actually defeat him. You know, just being able to defeat the homunculus is a testament to Edward and Elric's and the rest of the gang's ability to do so, because those homunculus are a part of Father. If they can defeat them, then that shows all of us, the readers and the viewers, that hey, they can actually stand a chance against them. And then of course Hohenheim, when he joined the cause, you see what I'm saying? He was powerful, but not to the point where it seemed hopeless. And then once again, this whole idea that you have a character that out the gate you already introduced as, yes, he is an immortal. Yes, he is invincible. And what was Hohenheim's not Hohenheim, what was Father's overall goal? He was going to replace God. And he came close. How many villains can say that they've done that? So that's why I dug Father. That is really why I liked him so much. Woo! So yeah, that video wasn't so bad. But anywho, so that's going to do it for my favorite villains video segment. Once again, I want to thank you all for joining me this week on Rogues Gallery Incorporated, and I would like to remind you all to feel free to check out the other videos by my other fellow Rogues Gallery members. Strapped Up 24, Hugo Strange, J Mason 105, and Uncle Man. As always, comment, rate, subscribe. We enjoy all the support and feedback that we get. And there was one more announcement I wanted to make. Completely slipped my mind. Oh, vote. What series do you want to see favorite hero, favorite villains for next? Comment and then thumb up the comment, because that's how these videos get. That's how the series get picked. Whichever comments have the most thumbs up. So feel free in the comments below to let me know what series you want to see next. I know Smallville has been in one of the front runners for a while now, for weeks, in fact, months, in fact. But it's always been beaten out at the last minute. So guys, let me know what series you want to see next. And with that said, this is Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, coming to you courtesy of Rogues Gallery Incorporated. Until next time, peace.